I like clear plastic and Iceman is nothing but. So that's why I bought this unexpectedly large Iceman figure. There's lots to unpack here with this Marvel Select Iceman by Diamond Select, released in 2023. It is a hefty chunk of clear plastic with all the baubles you need to make this the one and only Marvel Select Iceman you'll ever need to own. If I had a nickel for every clear action figure I'd have a lot of nickels. Here we see the side of the package. Just the picture of the figure that you can see thanks to the blister card. At the back, there are more photos of the exact figure that you've been getting, including the two variations that you can make. And here's a close-up of Iceman's crotch. There you have it. Exclusive, world exclusive. Anyway, a little write-up of Iceman down here if you didn't already know his history. And again, there's kind of the classic version and the new age version over there. Side, not much to look at, just a clear plastic. Down here is drawing. I don't know whether it's by Jim Lee or somebody else, whatever. But kind of wish that they had brought more focus to maybe comic art rather than just many, many different photos of the Iceman figure that you're buying because you can see right through the clear packaging. So let's take a look here, and it may be a little bit difficult to see through the two layers of bubble plastic here, but there is a swappable head for the classic version. It right now has the modern version there. It's got 3 different ice blasting hands in various states of blasting. There's a shorter burst, medium burst, and longer burst. You also see a base behind here, along with a little slidey bit that they'll call a sled, but I'm not going to because it looks like just a little splush. Again, you can see the bolt up there and the classic ice head down here. Now, something cool that I thought they included down here is it tells you who designed it, Eamon O'Donoghue, and it was sculpted by May Tarana. Cool. Good job, guys. Really like this figure. So, let's open up this packaging. We've got hinge ankles, hinge knees, swivel thigh, barbell jointed upper thigh, swivel waist, ball jointed torso, ball jointed shoulders, swivel bicep, hinge elbows, swivel hinge wrist, and a barbell jointed head. Now, during the switch, I found out that the swivel waist, the belt needs to go above the swivel waist, the icy belt, whereas the larger belt can kind of cover it all. So it kind of depends what your aesthetic looks like. I know this bald Iceman head is actually supposed to go with this one, and that clear belt should actually go with the more modern Bobby Drake, but whatever, that's fine. It's all it's all well and good. It's not that big of a deal to, I think, most collectors which one you swap it out with. I personally really like the way this looks, so I think I'm going to keep it this way. And here we see Iceman with 2 of his accessories attached, which are actually just his hands. We've got ice shards on his right hand and an ice bolt on his left. That's what I'm going to call the medium ice bolt. And on this other side, we see the longer one, which is much heavier and does not really hold well at the wrist area. It kind of makes it floppy if you try to attach it. And apparently something that I missed was that he's got 2 little things to hold any part of him up. So that's kind of cool. But the weird thing about this is, I don't see the typical fork at the top. I think it's just, kind of just put it on and deal with it. I am also not finding any pegs at the bottom of this, which would attach to this, which would kind of like inform me that that's the reason that it exists. But it's also weirdly clear plastic, so maybe I just couldn't find it, and maybe it's a little bit more hidden than I thought. Anyway, the pegs for all of the interchangeable parts are really good. I had a very easy time popping off the 2 different heads, as well as the hands, and at no point did I feel like that, any of the parts were going to break or bend or rip off the way that I kind of typically find with Marvel Legends figures. So, there you have it. I lied. I found all the pegs. They were very difficult to find, but I found it. And I'm pretty sure this is the way that Marvel Select wants you to display the Iceman figure. I mean, personally, I can understand why they would want to leave these support beams for you to display your Iceman figure in any which way you want. So even if the action figure itself didn't support the pose, the support beams would help. However, despite it being Iceman and despite the support beams being clear, I think that it takes away a lot of the aesthetic that might have been better served by having ice shards, let's say, dripping down, or maybe a better way of attaching the ice shards and frost beams or whatever you want to call them in a better way. So, not a huge fan of the support beams. And I'm pretty sure Iceman looks super menacing if he's holding a version of his head as a closed fist. As we move on to the figure comparisons to help you decide how the design language for this particular figure shapes up to others in a similar universe, we're bringing along other Hasbro figures from across the Iceman multiverse. We've got the Marvel Legends 6-inch, two different types. Marvel Legends 3.75-inch, and the original Toy Biz figures making their first appearance here. And, of course, unfortunately, this guy's super discolored because of the age of the clear plastic. We are going to be swapping in our perfectly 6-inch scale, 6-inch Iron Man. Being the first Marvel Select figure I've ever bought, I was taken aback with how large they actually are. I knew they were out of scale from Legends figures, which is why I never looked into it as part of my collection. And the few times I had checked out the figures at the local comic book store, I'd really only been looking at oversized figures like Thanos or Apocalypse. Now those figures stand at about 8.5 inches tall, which to me works with the Legends scale. But this 7-inch Iceman really looks weird to me next to other Legends figures, obviously, because it's going to be 1 inch taller or whatever the actual height difference would be. But I guess what kind of bothers me is because Iceman's character is supposed to be around like 5'8", because he's supposed to be like a younger guy. Maybe not fully grown yet. I don't know what height he is now, but I was just looking at the Marvel handbook, and 5'8" is what they pegged him as. So I don't know. Something is off with the scale with this Marvel Select universe of toys to me, which, I think makes sense because Marvel Select probably only has a license for a certain size of figure, so they kind of have to make it that way. If they encroached in Hasbro's line of height, maybe that would be an issue. So here Iceman is. We're gonna knock some more figures off. Let's knock one of these guys off. Here he is next to his best buddy. One of the largest Marvel figures Legends figures that I have. Colossus is not doing a great job of standing right now. Not good repping your line, my dude. Anyway. Well, let's go into talking about the differences between the two. You've seen what the comparison in size for the Colossus is with Iceman. Now, this Marvel Select looks really amazing. It's everything that I would have wanted out of a Legends figure, and unfortunately, I've never quite gotten the Iceman Legends figure that I wanted. But you can see the differences here. This is molded in some kind of weird, clear-ish, but not really pearlescent, sparkly plastic, but also there's this awful just seam right down the middle of his face, which is really distracting. I'm not sure why they couldn't just have the seam go down with the front and the back rather than left and the right sides. But you can see seamless molding, I guess, for this Iceman. He looks really, really good. It's everything kind of that I wanted out of this clear action figure. And there are like an ice gradient here, so the center of the Iceman is a little bit more blue. As we get out towards the tips, it is more clear, which is a really awesome aesthetic. I really like it. Obviously, though, when it comes to a clear plastic, and again, I think Marvel Legends tried to do this. They tried to hide the pins and the joints better. This one makes, doesn't really attempt to hide it, and they're really going for the color accuracy of the character rather than attempting to hide pin joints or hinge joints or whatever have you. However, the Marvel Legends kind of moved away from a clear plastic. They're still kind of using a clear plastic, but not as clear as it could be in order to hide some of these joints. That way it, I guess, aesthetically looks a little bit better. But again, I mean, if you take a look at both these guys, clearly this one looks way cooler, even if you could see the joints. It's whatever. And obviously very reminiscent to the old Iceman figure. It almost looks like a modernized, scaled up version of it. And honestly, out of all the Marvel figures from the Hasbro lines that they made, my favorite up until this point was this 3.75-inch version, just because the plastic was a little bit more clear. But yep, new favorite, Marvel Select. I really don't think I'm going to continue collecting many from the series. It's just that I really like clear plastic. Maybe if they get a glow-in-the-dark Ghost Rider, maybe that's what I'll go through next. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the Marvel Select line versus the Marvel Legends line. Let me know what you collect, and let me know whether you have the same feelings that I have towards this Marvel Select Iceman in comparison to the Marvel Legends figures. Thanks for watching, and check out the next videos in the future. Thanks, guys.